Last we left off, I discussed each of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's downloadable fighters, and I announced that I would start practicing with the game's latest fighter, Banjo. Or rather, Banjo and Kazooie, as the character is officially called. Since that video, I've been practicing almost daily. I've typically been practicing by playing about an hour or so of online matches each night, and I make sure to play as a few other characters from time to time as well. I don't just play as Banjo. But still, I'm definitely interested in playing as Banjo, and I want to further my efforts with him. So I've been trying out a few different tactics so that I can see what will stick. But in addition to playing online matches each night, I've also been regularly attending a weekly event known as Wednesday Night Fights. I've discussed this event several times in the past in this series, and lately I've been starting out each of my sets at that event as Banjo. Depending on how well I perform in the first game, that will typically determine whether or not I'll continue playing as Banjo for the remainder of the evening. But once again, I've been trying him out, and I've been trying to see what will and won't work. Upon my most recent visit to Wednesday Night Fights, a tournament organizer by the name of Tiny informed me of an upcoming competition known as Nightmare on Smashville. It was a large Smash tournament that'd be themed around Halloween. Although it was a bit of a last-minute decision, I decided to register for the event. After all, it'd be the first major tournament where I'd get to try out Banjo, and I figured that, if nothing else, I was probably due to compete in another tournament for this series anyway. The last one I attended was EVO back in August. Even more so, Nightmare on Smashville was hosted at a venue that I had previously attended. It was the same venue as SoCal Chronicles. Well, although the venue hasn't changed, a lot has changed with me since SoCal Chronicles. I've been trying out some new stuff as Yoshi, I've been trying out Banjo as a character overall, and I'm ready to put my new skills to the test. And so, I'm ready to enter another major tournament, and I'm ready to try out Banjo in a more professional setting. Bring it on, Nightmare on Smashville! Hello humans, I'm Yoshiller, and welcome back to another episode of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Road to Sakurai! It's time for another tourney-focused episode. And usually, in these tourney-focused episodes, I'll showcase myself traveling to an event, or maybe I discuss what I'd plan to do to prepare for the competition. However, because I registered so late, and because I've already visited this venue previously, I don't really feel the need to discuss my travel or preparation plans. Instead, I'm going to discuss a topic regarding my wins and losses. Throughout this series, my results haven't been too great. Sure, I've been optimistic and I've constantly said things like, well, if I won at least one set, then I've done better than half the players in the tournament. But now, I need to focus on improving. I can't just be okay with winning one set, I have to be okay with winning two. And so, going forward, I've decided to reward myself if the amount of sets that I win is greater than or equal to the amount of sets that I lose. This is called the 2-2 rule. If I do well, I get a treat. If I don't do well, then I get nothing. Here's the deal. I'm not currently skilled enough to consistently place highly in a tournament, but I may just be decent enough to win at least one set. New players enter tournaments all the time, so chances are I might fight a player like that in the first round, but if I want to get better at this game, I need to be able to take on people that are more than just newcomers. I need to take on veterans. So I might be decent enough to consistently win one set, but if I win two sets, then in most instances, I'll have performed well enough to treat myself to a reward. I'm hoping that this will encourage me to perform better, but of course, I still have a lot of learning to do. And that isn't helped by the fact that this event, Nightmare on Smashville, was stacked with many high-ranking players. If any of you have been keeping an eye out and have been watching regular Smash tourneys, many popular player names might ring a bell to you. Many of these popular players, as well as many of the high-ranking Wednesday Night Fights goers, decided to attend Nightmare in Smashville, and on top of all that, many well-known high-ranking tourney players were placed in the same pool as myself. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be winning this tournament. But hey, if anything, I'd love to play a high-ranking player. Even if I lose, I figure that playing against a player with such an excellent track record would be the best way for me to practice, right? It only makes sense that I could potentially learn from the best by playing against the best. But that'd only be true if I could win a round or two, as many of these top players were given round 2 seeds. I'm not a top player, so I was given a round 1 seed. And if I were to win my first set of matches, then my very next opponent would be a top player named Taternator. And when I say top player, I mean he's one of the best players in Southern California, and he's beaten me at Wednesday night fights in the past. Yeah, this 2-2 rule probably isn't gonna work out so well for me today, huh? Alright, that ought to be good. Well guys, I made it to the location safely. But it's not the first time I've been to this location. I've been here before. But this will be the first time in which I'm gonna apply a few other rules, if you will. This will be the first time I'm gonna use Banjo and Kazooie in a tournament, or at least in a big tournament outside of Wednesday night fights. And as of this tournament, I'm enforcing the 2-2 rule. I don't get to buy any merchandise or any special treats unless I go at least 2-2 in this tournament, and that's not counting buys. I have to win at least 2 sets for me to buy any merchandise or to get any treats. That way it's all the more memorable if I do buy the merchandise or do get a treat. Alright, anyway, I got my hat, got my controller, can't forget that. Let's do this. Hi. She's the reason I'm here. She's the whole reason I signed up for this tournament at the last second.
I told them that I signed up for it on spot.
Yeah, so I told myself I'm not going to buy any merchandise or any treats unless I go at least 2-2 in the bracket. So if I go 2-2 in the bracket, I'll buy a keychain or a cookie or something. That way it's more memorable. But it's her fault that I'm here.
It's my fault?
It's a good thing.
It's not a fault.
It's a good thing.
It's a positive.
It's a positive. I wasn't going to compete this weekend, and now I'm here, so it'll be great. Also, I love the costume.
Thank you. I love your hat.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so matches are going to start in just a minute. It's about 10:50 or so, and my pool starts at 11. I played a fair share of friendlies. I won most of my friendlies, and I played as both Banjo and Yoshi. I didn't play as anyone else, but in the matches where I won as Banjo, with the exception of the first match, I think I won all of them. And then when I played as Yoshi, I won most of them, but I think I was losing in the middle of them. So, I'm thinking for the sake of this tournament, I'm going to start as Banjo, and if I get bodied, then I'll switch to Yoshi. But hopefully Banjo can get me a win, and if not Banjo, then hopefully Yoshi will get me a win. I think those are the 2 characters I'm going to exclusively use in this tournament. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get ready for my first round match. For my first match, my opponent was a player named Cranky. I came here with a camera so I could record my matches. If I win by a DQ, I don't learn anything. Maybe you do. What do I learn? To be on time? Yeah.
Healthy breakfast gets you the first foot.
I did not eat breakfast, but I did the rest of those things.
That's sure. 2-1.
2-1, yeah, sure.
You get a buy.
I get a buy? Okay, I get a buy. Woo! I did it, guys. I didn't go 0-2. My next opponent's Taternator. Cranky never showed up. He got disqualified, which meant that I automatically advanced to the second round. I guess this counts as a win. It's different than just having an automatic bye and being placed automatically into the second round. Well, if anything, I was able to play against Taternator next. And actually, our match was streamed. And I usually prefer to have my matches streamed so that I can get to hear what the commentators have to say, and the match is in higher quality, so I don't have to rely on someone pointing a video camera at the screen. We played our first game on Pokemon Stadium 2, and Taternator played as his titular character, Bowser Jr., or Lemmy, technically. I did start off as Banjo, but I made plenty of mistakes, and he read almost all of my actions. Not only that, I'm definitely not used to this character matchup. So a lot of this match was improvisation on my part. If you hear the commentators say things like, "Why did Yoshiller go for that?" or "Why didn't Yoshiller chase him there?" it's because I really didn't know what would and wouldn't be safe. Taternator was comboing me. I didn't know how to get out of a lot of this stuff, and so he took the first game. After realizing that playing as Banjo in this matchup would do me no good, I switched to my ace, Yoshi. So here we are, Yoshi versus Lemmy. I felt that I could rush down this Koopaling more easily as Yoshi than as Banjo. And in some parts of the game, I was able to keep up the pressure. But unfortunately, Taternator was just better at maintaining pressure against me and at controlling the stage overall. And as such, he proved to be victorious after perfectly reading one of my ledge get-ups. Thank you for the matches, Taternator. Now I was in losers round 2, but with a current score of 1-1, if I were to win this set, then I'd be able to reward myself with a treat or a gift or something. And so, my next opponent was named Jimbles, and this time, I tried out a reverse tactic. Instead of starting off as Banjo, I decided to start off as Yoshi, and if I got bodied in my first game, then I'd go ahead and switch to Banjo. Jimbles decided to play as Cloud, and yeah, he definitely destroyed me the first game. When he asked me where I wanted to go for the second game, I responded by saying that if I'm about to be eliminated, then I should play on Smashville, as the event was called Nightmare on Smashville, so it only made sense to play on that stage at least once, even if the stage could potentially be disadvantageous to me. Throughout the game, I had various mindsets, and I kept changing my mind on what would be and what wouldn't be the best option. So then I tried to fall back on the idea of relying on my grenades. Secretly, I'm hoping that my opponent's shields let me run in and go for a grab. Of course, Jimbles wasn't having any of this, and he just jumped over my grenades instead. As a result, I didn't have any one strategy for this game, and eventually I was lucky enough to be able to land Banjo's side B attack so that I could take off some stocks, and honestly, I think I just got lucky. But hey, even if this was a lot of luck and random timing on my part, I still won a tournament game with Banjo, so that's good. This brought us to Game 3, and Jimbles requested that we return to Pokemon Stadium 2. However, things would still be different as I was still Banjo, but I still made some very predictable decisions. He countered me accordingly, and even though I had the upper hand of the game early on, he only needed 1 or 2 attacks to really turn the whole thing around. I admit that I was using my side B a lot throughout the match, so I tried to stop relying on it. There were a lot of maneuvers that I did that were really risky, and in reality, had I just been 1 inch closer to Cloud, I probably would have lost the match. Even so, there were 1 or 2 things that I should have done, such as when Cloud was recovering, I probably could have gimped him, and I just didn't know better. But even so, I was victorious, after I was able to dodge a Limit Break attack from Cloud, and I counterattacked him with Wonder Wing. Thus, that put me into the 3rd round of the losers bracket. Thank you for the matches, Jimbles! My next opponent was Lightspeed, a Roy player. We went to Pokemon Stadium 2 for the first game, and I played as Banjo. I landed a few hits early on, but after those first few hits, I left myself wide open after some attacks, and Lightspeed was able to take full advantage of those opportunities and punish me. I was a little more cautious on my last stock, but of course, I got greedy, used my side B, and was punished again. So for the second game, we went to Kalos Pokemon League, as I thought maybe I'd be able to recover here a little better. Lightspeed was very good at pressuring me as I tried to recover, and of course, it was only a matter of time before he trapped me and took off one of my stocks. But as I was at my final stock, Lightspeed still had 2 remaining, and he once again pressured me off stage until he was able to land the final blow. And with that, I was eliminated from Nightmare on Smashville. Thank you for the matches, Lightspeed! So, I made some very obvious mistakes, and my opponents were very easily able to find ways to punish me. I constantly tried to perform risky tactics, and while that allowed me to land a couple of crucial hits, the reality was that I either didn't know what was the safer option, or I didn't know how to avoid or counter certain attacks. It's true, I definitely need a lot of practice. But if nothing else, for attending a last-minute event, and for mostly using Banjo, I'm not too ashamed of the result. I think I need to practice with him a bit more before I confidently start a set with him again, but hey, this tournament was okay in the end. I technically won 2 sets, I played against a top player on stream, and I got to try out a new character in a more competitive setting. All in all, Nightmare on Smashville wasn't such a nightmare after all. Alright, well I went 2-2, even though one of my victories was because someone got disqualified, but hey, a 2-2 score is a 2-2 score. Not my best tournament necessarily, but I got to use Banjo, and I won a couple matches with him, so that's good. So today had some success to it. I'm pretty satisfied with that, especially considering this is much better than the last time I was here. So for now, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna edit my footage, and I'm gonna get ready to compete in future tournaments, so thank you all for watching. Oh, I have to figure out what I am going to do for a treat or a souvenir or something because I did go 2-2. Not that I have to buy something, but if I do buy something, I'll let you guys know. Well, folks, I'm at the office now editing this video. This is kind of like a last-second insert. And in case you guys were curious, I did get a treat. Okay? I got myself a treat. So, happy ending, yay! Try to eat one of these with one hand. There we go.
Hey everyone! If you enjoyed what you saw and want to see more, be sure to click the subscribe icon underneath the video. Be sure to click on the bell icon to be notified when a new video is out. Also, one of the best ways to support me is to follow me on Twitter. On there, you can see announcements, updates, and previews for all of my upcoming content. My tag is @Yoshiller. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you all in future videos. Whoosh!